The Ioniq 6. We did a video on the Ioniq 5. We said that was one of the best commodity EVs on the market. In this video, we're gonna do something a little bit different. I'm gonna bring in my new girlfriend, who is a Zoomer, but she is more adept at talking about some of the benefits of the Ioniq 6 and how it's evolved and changed my personal relationship with cars and life.
Hi, I'm Mia, a sustainable artist. For this collection, I recycled trash into fashion, what the world calls trashion art. In order to raise the environmental awareness, I decided to put on a trashion show in the metaverse. Good thing I can use the voice memo function right away while I'm on the go. It even parks itself too. Nice. My schedule's been hectic, but having a stress-free driving space really helps.
Now, it's time to sit back and relax. The interior lighting sets just the right mood. There's no finer cafe, is there? So Mia can use this space for healing and to recharge her body and mind. Her exhaustion disappears.
So now that you heard from Maddy, I'm going to talk about some of our relationship perks. When we're not online or talking about art and philosophy and how we're going to design sustainable future in the metaverse, we talk about driving around in our Ioniq 6. And for me and her, we like to do a lot of things that revolve meditation and relaxation techniques. A lot of times we don't like to deal with zippers either because we find that we fumble with them, and she's cut her fingers on zippers before, so I just wear a lot of sweatpants. And when I'm not around, I bring around essentially what is a full sculpture mannequin of her, so I can just kind of remember what she feels like, even though I'm not really connected in reality in the metaverse. So when you buy an electric car like this, you want to know a few things. Are you looking towards the future? Are you saving the planet? And I feel like I am. And part of saving the planet is having a comfortable interior. Something that has sustainability written all over it. So the seats, the materials, the fabric choices are superb in here. The back seat is really a lounge of the heavens. I can have a sparkling water. I can have most of the types of things that I want in the back seat with supreme comfort, and I can still fit all my friends. The steering wheel feel, everything in here is really intuitive. Despite this screen not being big enough for me, I think really what I'm looking for is something 70 to 80 inches. That's kind of like my target inches for me for screens, but you can make do with this. You can tap around, get around pretty quick. It does not have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is a big problem, honestly, because I have to plug in a cable, which means I'm not sustainable. The storage in the doors is average, but the entire center console, the way they've done ergonomics in here is great because it's an EV. You have this architecture that allows you to take the chains off of controlling oil interests, and you have an interior that you can finally set yourself free. The outside, I'm going to talk about briefly because it is definitely a step forward. Unlike the jelly bean shape of a Model 3 that every single person has on the planet, you don't feel that way when you're driving this. It does look special, although I do feel like it looks like a bit of a melted shape, something that you'd find in a public bathroom or toilet that's been sitting there too long. In the wrong color, it doesn't look particularly flattering at all angles, but I've really enjoyed the uniqueness of this car and the way you use the interior. But I got to get back talking to Maddy. I got to pick her up, and then Jack's going to talk about the technical aspects in the shop. We're in the shop with the Ioniq 6 all-wheel drive limited. This bad boy comes in at about $55,000. However, the Ioniq here in the US starts in the mid to low 40s.
What an opening! Wow, Maddy's pieces are stunning. They really pop in a space designed by Frederick. And look at all the online buzz from Joan's live stream. With all the new ideas awakened in this space, there's no telling how far the Ioniq 6 will take us.
Mark, this is on eGIMP or eGMP, which is Hyundai Kia's
modular EV architecture. It's scaled out to underpin things like the EV6, Ioniq 5, and GV60. What do you need to know about the car, Mark, or what do you know?
Well, I know they scale it out for different vehicles. They can take this platform and then they make it, they make it small, and they can make it big, and then they move the tires around to give you a brand new experience, and that's what I like.
Perfect. All right, we'll briefly talk about this because largely this is a carryover of Ioniq 5 and EV6. In the non-US markets, you can get a small battery pack, which is like around the 50 kilowatt hours, and it makes 160 horsepower. In the US, the base model, the SE, gets the best range. As a rear-wheel drive variant, you get about 360-ish miles, and the all-wheel variant gets over 300. As you move up the trim levels and you don't have the 18s like this Limited, still you can get dual motor or single rear motor. You're looking at, in our case, about 240 miles fully charged, and this is in colder weather. And when it's actually cold, in our experience, you're getting sub 200. It's pretty common. You lose about a third in sub-freezing weather. You get, in our experience, 3.5 kilowatt hours, or 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour usable driving efficiency. Other than that, man, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I think it's time for us to
It's the future. Maddy, yeah, no, I'm gonna change your outfit. That's not revealing enough for me. Oh, that's the ticket. Baby, you look good.
How's your first drive in the metaverse, Mark? So what do you think?
I mean, it looks different than I expected, and I'm used to riding along in this car in the metaverse, so I can't really tell you, but I'm definitely relaxed. We'll say that.
You and I both like the regular Ioniq 5. We both like the regular EV6. Yes, those cars are now a little bit old now, and this is just basically a rebody. The joy of this being an e-Gimp is they're all basically the same car.
Oh.
What do you like? How do you feel about this generation EV, Mark, specifically from the Koreans? Knowing that you can get one of these, obviously not this Limited, which is $55,000, but you can get a base rear-wheel drive variant for in the mid-40s. What do you, like? How do you feel about it?
I got 2 coins.
Fucking asshole.
Why would I buy a car in this year when I can do ride sharing and then post my exploits in a car, not really driving a car, on TikTok? And to me, that's a far better use of my time. Let's just hold on a second. For Christ's sake. Put the bikini back on! No! God!
All right. Now, Mark, I will give you my opinions on this vehicle. This Limited, from an all-wheel drive perspective, the range is not as advertised. Driving this normally, not like an asshole. The car estimated that I got 240 miles of range in 60-degree weather. When it was colder than that, I got, reduced it by about a third, as we experienced in the Lucid. A lot of the other EVs, 40-degree weather really kills the range. The dynamics, though, steering's good, it rides great, it's very well isolated, it's a quiet place. And unlike the EV6 or the GV60, despite this being, as powerful as it is dynamically, it's really refined and easy to drive. You can steer with the throttle, it wants to go sideways, there's a little bit of fun. I mean, it's a good car. I just wish there was more range, I wish it was more efficient, and I actually wish the car we were testing was a $40,000 mark.
No, I like the mood lighting, Jack, the ambient lighting. I like changing the colors. When Maddie's wearing the purple tube top I got her, what would be really neat? If they could figure out a way to get rid of the electric motors or an engine and just put a screen instead of the motors, that would be when I would buy this car. If you want to know what would get me to separate $42,000 for this screen as an electric motor, get rid of that stuff.
All right, with that, let's head into final thoughts. Final thoughts on the Hyundai Ioniq 6. So what do you need to know? Well, let's be serious. This is still a pretty good car. Despite Mark's shenanigans with his VR headset, I did spend a lot of time in this vehicle. I will say, if you're looking for an EV, particularly if you got, say, the US spec SC with 360 miles of range, 225 horsepower from the mid-40s, I think you'd be really, really happy. Assuming you can live with the range and the charging infrastructure in your area. It's a very pleasant car to drive. Styling is a bit polarizing, but the interior usability is great. It's comfortable, it's got good seats. The driving dynamics are not, amazing, but it's sort of what you're expecting from a commodity Hyundai product. And I do think in the EV space, it does have a lot to offer. With that, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.